Today we'll be answering some more of you guys' questions. Some of these were on YouTube, some on Facebook, Instagram. You can keep asking them wherever.
We'll answer how do you choose which area to buy in. We'll answer should I be using a real estate agent, and a lot more questions. So stay tuned, all of those answered after this.
What service do you provide? So basically, what role do you play in the house flipping? Do I purchase the property, you renovate, then the sale? Is it commission based?
Thank you for the question. I think easy way just to sum it up is, firstly, there's a number of offerings, but all of these offerings are not open to the public. Firstly, we do consultations,
yes.
And that is one way. If someone is flipping a house, we can consult you during the process, and we'll just charge you consulting hours.
That's a rate, an hourly rate that we
Yes.
charge. Alternatively to that, we don't flip for people. I think that's what the question really is can we, how do you work? The way we really work is we buy a property, we hold it, we are the owners of it, fix it up with our own cash, sell it again to the market. So it's literally in our possession, and then we do what we think is best in terms of the renovation, and then put it onto the market, and if we were right, it gets sold for the best price. So essentially, we don't do anything with people, except for in some instances we have investors which are only involved in either
buying,
providing cash to us or providing loan capacity to us to buy a house. And then we do a split with them, but they're not involved really in the deal other than providing an investor role.
The financing
part of it. So yeah.
Which indicators or features of a suburb should one look out for when purchasing a home for flipping? I'm not from Pretoria, so what makes Gauteng ideal?
So why choose a specific suburb? How do you choose a suburb to flip in? First things first is we look for margin. So a wide gap between what we can buy for and what we can sell for. So there needs to be a wide gap in between what the lowest cost for a property is in an area and what the highest cost for a property is in the area.
The cheapest and the most expensive.
Exactly. So that makes a lot of sense, and that's why Gauteng for us. What else makes Gauteng a good idea for us, would you say?
I think what we saw in Gauteng is, or what actually happened here is there came a lot of development in the area, so which then automatically lifted the area's value. And then
so new development, coffee shops started popping up.
Coffee shops, Woolworths Foods, things that people who spend a lot of money on mundane things,
yes,
they use those type of places.
So nice to haves in an area start popping up. And I think what also leads that is the area is normally older and a bit more established, and because of that, values have gone down a bit, and then at some stage it starts lifting up because of its location or whatever.
Yeah.
So for instance, Gauteng is right next to Mainland Main, and thus next to the highway, bunch of good schools. So a lot of things happening and a lot of reasons why that makes sense, but it's all about the wide gap between the lowest property and the most expensive property, because we can then buy the cheapest property and sell the most expensive property.
I think the nice thing as well is when you find one, there's normally a lot, because it's an area, it's not a house, it's not a street, it's normally an area.
Yes.
And that is also what we've seen here. All of the houses were almost built on the same time.
Yes.
So they're
80s.
aging at the same time. So all of them
They all
are
look
out
the
of
same.
date.
You'll see a lot of our houses have brick because it was the thing of the 80s, right? Low maintenance, face brick and that type of thing. So essentially, a lot of stock. Also, when we do construction, it's nice that they're all in one area. That's why we don't do a Joburg and a Centurion and a Krugersdorp and all in one place. All of these properties are close to one another. So essentially, it's also just about choosing an area that fits that criteria, but then just making a decision and saying this is where we focus.
And each town or
area has that.
Each town or city should have that Gauteng type of
it's
area.
very important to look for that to make real money.
Not easy to find, but once you have it, that's where you should operate.
Cool.
Please ask Dupi which software he uses to do his 3D models. Alternatively, what other softwares would he recommend? I'm interested in purchasing one, but would really appreciate his input.
So Dupi uses Lumion and Revit, right?
Yeah.
So he uses mostly those two. It's a combination. Revit is used for modeling, as far as I understand. It's for building the 3D models and building the house in 3D. And then Lumion is actually a render engine, which helps you to output it with a cool texture and looks and so on, so we can really see
that
what
it can really look like real life and it will look like a video.
I do want to say, if you did not spend a lot of time with the software, just having the software doesn't make you a good designer.
Not at all.
For me and LaRue, we didn't learn the software because learning the software wouldn't make us good 3D designers. It's more than that. So that's why we employed somebody to do it.
It's really not easy.
Yes, and it's time.
Really high.
It takes a lot of time to learn and figure out and to physically do.
He studied it. He
studied it for 3 years, so he understands it really well. Don't just think you'll be a good designer or you'll make awesome 3D models from
just having
buying the software. That's not the answer.
Would you be willing to provide design ideas for us?
So essentially, the answer to a lot of these questions are the same. We do provide a consultation service, so ideas in that sense we can definitely provide. Other than that, not really. Watch our videos, subscribe, like, comment, do all those things.
I think also it's something that we've been taking for granted. The fact that we in the industry ideas. And we have the ideas, it comes to us as normal.
Yeah.
But I've seen in a lot of projects, it is not
nice.
The obvious choice always.
You mean it didn't turn out well? People thought they could just flip themselves and it turned out average.
Yeah, and I think it only makes sense when you've seen it go wrong. Then you know, because we do it every day and we feel it's the obvious choice, and it's never really obvious. It's because of the experience that we had.
My biggest question and concern from my side wanting to get into flipping is the issue of going through a realtor. I don't have enough free time to a proper flip, but will focus on fixing up for now. So sourcing properties via realtors can cut into my bottom line and make an investment risky for me. The same is true if I sell through a realtor. Do you guys use real estate agents in your process?
Yes, we do use real estate agents. We only use them for the buying part, because I believe realtors have access to the market. For ourselves, we have created a brand and we spend a lot of effort and money on focusing on that brand. So we sell privately. I do not think it makes sense for everybody to sell privately. The problem is, as soon as you sell privately, a buyer will not necessarily be honest to you and say, this is an issue for me. And sometimes that issue that keeps them from from buying from you is something small. So if a buyer tells us, I need a gate here and that would make it a property that I would buy, we can say, yes, we'll put it in for you. Or normally they can tell the estate agent that. And the estate agent can say, yeah, I'm sure the owner can put something in. Whereas they might be scared to offend a normal private seller.
It helps having a
middleman.
Yes.
So a middleman for that reason is really good. And then I just want to touch on something else. If your deal does not make sense because of real estate agent fees, there's not enough margin, don't do it.
Because if you don't sell that property fast enough, 2 to 3 months, you would have
already using up that amount.
That realtor fee.
Exactly. So if 60 or 80,000 rand is stopping you from selling a property,
it's not the right deal.
Or from buying a property, it's definitely not the right deal. So, and then the last part, the commission is paid by the seller. So if you are buying a property, that commission is paid for by the seller. So you offering an all-inclusive amount, you're not paying the estate agent when you're buying. You're only paying them when you're selling. So you're only paying commission once. It's definitely worth it if you have a good agent to be that middleman.
Or any agent. Relationships with agents.
Yes, but I mean it's worth the money if it's the right agent. And by all means, relationships with agents is everything. That's how we get a lot of stock, is through the right agents, knowing that we will buy if it is the right thing, and they bring that stuff to us. So yeah, definitely we do work through agents, and I would recommend you do as well, especially if it's your first flip.
Very valuable.
How do you plan the work plan to make everything go quicker? Tips on how to plan the project more efficiently. Tips to how to save on refinishing items would also be much appreciated.
How do we plan the process to get our renovations done quicker? That's super crucial because labor is very expensive. And the longer your project takes, the more expensive it becomes, the less your profit would be. Now, how do we plan the projects, Leroux? We've got 5 projects running at the moment. How do we plan them?
It's
a lot
quite
of effort.
a difficult process, and we have to layer the steps between the projects so that all of the things aren't happening the same at once, so that we don't.
So construction, building is not happening at each site at the same time.
A demolition, and then it will continue to building. When we start with building, we'll start demolition on the other
second
side.
project.
Yeah,
so that's running the projects concurrently, right?
We're trying to stagger
like
the works.
Not all your projects are being tiled at the same time.
Yes.
And now the bigger question is there other ways in which you can save time on projects, would you say?
I think there is. Firstly, being hands-on the project will help a lot.
So not just there 7 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock after your day job?
I know everyone can't do that, but that will save you a lot of time, because the actual part is not the planning part, it's the problem solving part. You need to be there because the problems arise.
Flames, right? Little small flames popping up. What do I do here? The floor is not level now, or stuff like that. That's a big play. And then lastly, you asked about reusing items to save cost. Definitely crucial. We reuse a lot of things, especially doors. You can just put a new handle and reuse that door. If you can paint something and it looks good, do that, because replacing it is flipping expensive. Cupboard doors, a lot we do that with. What else? Kitchens, we use the old carcasses quite a lot.
Toilets.
Like repair on it, sometimes toilets. Lights,
Zincs,
even, certain lights.
We really look for ways to incorporate some of the old things.
Because you can't just pluck out everything and redo everything, because then it becomes really expensive really quickly.
But as well, you can't just replace everything. So there's a fine balance between knowing what is worthwhile spending time on and what you should just chuck and head on.
And I think that's part of the skill. That's part of the skill. You can unfortunately not learn that through a YouTube video. You have to learn it over time, right? Yeah. But reuse as much as you can.
Look for ways to be able to. We normally, when we head into a site, we try and create 3 categories. Firstly is reuse, second is sell, and then third is throw away.
Yes, because a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to use that won't fit your style might be worth something. So don't just throw them on a heap. I've seen there's a bunch of times getting to sites and there's a lot of valuable things. Even though they're not being used on this site, they are valuable.
They still have value.
Can
but
be sold.
If they were left on the site for 2 months, they
in the rain,
will have
they're gone.
No value.
Yep.